Lord Baden-Powell is known worldwide as the founder of Scouting, a hero of Mafeking. This is the story of BP's biography, life of a hero, and as a founder of Scouting. Lord Robert Stephenson Smith Baden-Powell was born on 22nd of February year 1857 at Paddington in London, England. His father Baden-Powell was a priest and professor of geometry at Oxford University. His father died when he was 3 years old, and it was left to his mother, Henrietta Grace Smith, a lifelong student of music and arts. At the age of 13, he studied at a local school named Charterhouse. Through a foundation scholarship, although a scholar, Robert admittedly revealed that he never did well in school, and it is no more evident when his application to Oxford University, but learned rudimentary scouting skills playing in nearby woods. After school at age of 19, he took the Army and Entrance examination. He passed with honors and was sent to India to join his regiment, the 13th Hussars. His regiment was transferred back and forth from India to Africa and back to India. Before long, he was promoted to the military rank of colonel commanding a new regiment. He served in the British Army from year 1876 to 1910. During his army career, he learned more advanced scouting skills, especially during his time in South Africa, where knowledge of the countryside was vital for gaining information and avoiding the enemy. From October 11, 1899 to May 16, 1900s, Colonel Robert Baden-Powell commanded the garrison at Mafeking during the Second Boer War against General Cronje. While serving in the Second Boer War, Robert Baden-Powell penned his 6th military book, Aids to Scouting. The siege of Mafeking lasted 217 days with 1,500 British colonial troops against initially 7,500 Boers. During the war, the Mafeking Cadet Corps was a group of boy cadets formed by Lord Edward Cecil. The cadets consisted of volunteer boys below fighting age and were used to support the troops, carry messages, and help in the hospital. This freed up men for military duties. A 13-year-old Sergeant Major Warner Goodyear was their leader. The successful defense of the town raised the national profile of Baden-Powell as the hero of Mafeking. BP returned to England in 1903, where he was surprised that British schools were using his military book, Aids to Scouting, to teach young boys lessons and deductions and observations. It was very surprising because the book was intended to train soldiers and not young boys. With the recommendation of his friend, Sir William Smith, Robert began revising his military book into a book that is suitable for boys. Before working on his revised version of the book, in July 31 to August 9, 1907, Baden-Powell invited a group of 21 boys plus Baden-Powell's 9-year-old nephew Donald Fairless Wilson Baden-Powell to join an experimental camp in Brownsea Island, Poole Harbour in Dorset, England, and divided the boys into 4 patrols: the Blue Wolves, Green Bulls, Yellow Curlews, and Red Ravens, and had various of activities that taught the boys leadership, team play, resourcefulness, and more. The boys spent a week on Brownsea Island and it proves to be a great success. While Brownsea Island was the site of the experimental camp run by Baden-Powell in 1907, Hamso hosted what is recognized as the first official scout camp from 22nd of August to 4th September in 1908. The difference between the two camps is that the 1907 event was not attended by any invested members of Scouting, since there was no movement at that time. The Hamso camp saw 30 invested Boy Scouts from around the United Kingdom, who were members of recognized Scout troops who followed the Scout method and Scout law as developed by Baden-Powell and published in his Scouting for Boys. In 1909, William D. Boyce, a Chicago publisher and businessman, was lost in London fog on his way back to his hotel. He stopped under a street lamp to recon where he is. A voice of a young unknown scout greeted him and offered him for assistance, and was able to guide him back to his hotel. William then reached into his pocket and offered the boy some money for assisting him. Surprisingly, the boy refused to accept it, saying that he is a scout and would not accept anything in return for his good turn. William was impressed with the boy's action. He visited the British Scouting Office that very next day and met with Robert Baden-Powell himself. He went home to America with a suitcase filled with Scouting literature, uniform, and badges. On February 8, 1910, William and a group of outstanding Americans founded the Boy Scouts of America and Lone Scouts of America in 1915. The statue of the unknown scout is located in Gilwell Park. From this initial starting point, the Scouting movement soon blossomed. On 4th of September, year 1909, there was the first National Scout Rally at Crystal Palace. It was attended by 11 boys and illustrated the rapid growth in popularity. There were also a number of girls who wished to be part of this new movement. This led to the formation in 1910 of a parallel organization, the Girl Guides, which was run by his sister Agnes Baden-Powell. The Scouting movement also became an international organization with Scouting groups forming around the world. Baden-Powell met his future wife, Olive St. Clair Soames, at Royal Mail Steam Packet Corporation Arcadian on the ocean liner Arcadian on October 30th, year 1912. She was 23 and he was 55. The marriage gained a lot of media publicity due to the high-profile nature of Baden-Powell. They were married in secret and later had 3 children: Arthur Robert Peter Baden-Powell, Heather Grace Baden-Powell, also known as Grace King, and Betty St. Clair Baden-Powell, also known as Betty Clay. The First World War temporarily destroyed much of this international feeling, though former scouts used much of their training in the trenches on the Western Front. However, in 1920, 2 years after the end of the First World War, the First World Scout Jamboree was held from July 30 to August 8, 1920, and was hosted by the United Kingdom at Kensington Olympia in London. 8,000 scouts from 34 nations attended the event, which was hosted in a glass-roofed building covering an area of 6 acres. It was at this event that Baden-Powell, the founder of Scouting, was acclaimed the chief scout of the world. After retirement, in 1938, he returned to Africa where he lived at Nyeri, Kenya.
died on January 8, year 1941. At the age of 83 years old, he was buried in St. Cemetery in Nyeri, Kenya. On his headstone are the words, Robert Baden-Powell, Chief Scout of the World, surmounted by the Boy Scout and Girl Guide badges.
Did you know? Robert's last name was really Powell. When his father passed away, his mother renamed them Baden-Powell in honor of his father. Sir William Alexander Smith is the founder of a Christian youth organization called the Boys Brigade, where the boys participated BP's experimental camp at Brownsea Island.
Robert's decision to retire from the military and focus of scouting was partially because of the influence of the king. Robert and Olive Baden-Powell have the same birthday, February 22. BP's name, Robert Stephenson, came from his grandfather, was born on October 16, year 1803, and died on October 12, year 1859, was an English railway and civil engineer, the only son of George Stephenson, the father of railways. He built on the achievements of his father. Robert has been called the greatest engineer of the 19th century. Baden-Powell have 9 siblings and 4 half-siblings. In 1883, BP won the Kadir Cup for pig sticking, a dangerous form of boar hunting. These drawings of insects contain secret maps of military bases, weapons, and even the type of terrain around the bases, where Baden-Powell disguised as a zoologist studying butterflies. BP started the first of several tours in Africa in year 1884. He quickly gained fame as a hunter and tracker. Among wild game he hunted were the springbok, kudu, and hippopotamus. BP considered kudu horn as the most attractive trophy. His technique in hippopotamus hunting gained his nickname, in English, the man who lies down to shoot. The scouting neckerchief or scarf is thought to have originated during Robert Baden-Powell's participation in the Second Matabele War in year 1896. There, he worked alongside an American-born scout, Frederick Russell Burnham, whose practical style of dress impressed Baden-Powell, so much that he ended up prescribing a neckerchief or scarf as an official part of the scout uniform. Baden-Powell participated in Africa in the campaigns against the Zulus, the Ashantis, and the Matabele. The natives feared him so much that they gave him the name of Impisa, which means the wolf who never sleeps. Because of this vigilance, never at fault, his boldness as a scout and his extraordinary skill as a tracker. When the king of the Zulus, Dini Zulu, surrendered in November year 1888, BP kept a souvenir of his necklace that was a distinction conferred on royalty and outstanding warriors, and which consisted of 1,000 or more small wooden beads. These little beads which are given to all scout leaders who conquered the wood badge. BP considered himself an actor at Kandahar, Afghanistan in year 1881. He started as the Major General in Gilbert and Sullivan's the Pirate of Penzance, while wearing the borrowed full dress uniform of a visiting British general. For those interested in astrology, BP was a Pisces. Baden-Powell was a keen illustrator. He regularly drew paintings and drawings, often with a humorous slant. He was also an excellent storyteller and loved amateur dramatics. First trained into Mafeking after the siege of Mafeking on 11th October year 1899 to 16th of May year 1900s in the Great Boer War.
According to a biographer, Tim Gill, Baden-Powell had some implicit, though rather naive, sympathy to fascism. He read Mein Kampf in 1939, and his diary noted, "Lay up all day, read Mein Kampf, a wonderful book, with good ideas on education, health, propaganda, organization, etc. and ideals which Hitler does not practice himself." His scouting movement was blacklisted by Hitler and the Nazi Party. In Nazi Germany, the Scouts was listed as a dangerous spy organization and a haven for young men opposed to the new state. In 1940, Baden-Powell was on a blacklist of people to be arrested should the Nazis invade England.
Baden-Powell's awards are Bronze Wolf Award, Silver Buffalo Award, Order of Merit, Royal Victorian Order, Queen's South Africa Medal with Defense of Mafeking clasp, Siege of Mafeking on October 14, 1899 to 16th of May, year 1900s in the Great Boer War, and more. Tax 2 Cottage was the former home of the Scout movement founder Lord Baden-Powell. Today, the cottage is integrated into the Outspan Hotel building and serves as a small scouting museum. Baden-Powell died in 1941 and his grave at St. Paul's Cemetery in Yeri has been declared a national monument. And in 1929, at the Third World Jamboree, also in England, the Prince of Wales announced that BP would be given a peerage by the King. BP took the title of Lord Baden-Powell of Gilwell, the Gilwell Park being the location of the International Training Center he had established for Scout leaders.
Thank you all, good luck to you, and I wish we may meet again.